And we're back. It's only been a couple minutes, so I've had time to mix a runnier batch. I've still got my pieces of burlap nearby, and you can tell that this stuff's a lot runnier. You don't want it too runny, but you want it runny enough that it'll sink right into the burlap. And the extra moisture that's in the plaster will help absorb right into the burlap strips. Now, whether you're doing this for yourself or you're a teacher and you want to bring something maybe a little different, a little bit more fun to the curriculum, by all means, this is not hard to do. It's not expensive. Even if you want to do some really simple casts, simple molds, you could do a jacket mold, or you don't even need to do a jacket mold. I'll show you in a second. Well, I'll show you when I'm done applying this stuff, just to give you a bit of an idea. Like, it's totally doable to do these forms out of straight up plaster. The only thing you got to be ready to do is apply a lot of sealant, because if you're doing it out of resin, it'll bond directly to the plaster and it'll be a lot of time wasted. Now, for low detail pieces, plaster works. High detail, no, because you will ruin absolutely everything you've worked on, and it's no fun. So I've got my base, everything covered, so I'm going to go in with the second coat, or second layer of burlap. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing body casting with plaster, because it's just not skin friendly. You'd want to use, you can use a brush-on silicone. There's a few available on the market. Look it up on YouTube, and you'll find some good examples of some good companies to deal with when it comes to this. I'm just going to block your view here for a second, so I get everything covered nicely. So there we go. I've got enough plaster just to finish that off. This will only take a minute or two. Now, yes, I have done this before. If you're watching this video, you already know this. Or there's a good chance you do know this because you've been keeping track of what I've been doing. And this doesn't take a lot of space. Like right now, I've got maybe, 4 feet across by 4 feet. As long as you're careful and you've already thought out what you're going to do with the work that you're doing. It doesn't take a lot of room. If you take your time, it's not that messy. Like, you can do all this with a 6x8 blue tarp and have next to no mess on your hands. Now, as far as a mixing container for the plaster, if you can get your hands on a bucket or a bowl about this size, maybe a tad bit bigger, that is made out of silicone at a good price, jump on it, because it's worth its weight in gold. I haven't been able to find one yet, hence why I'm still using the metal one, which I just hammer out the old plaster, comes out in chips and chunks, and I just reuse it. Silicone will just pop out. All the dried plaster So it's easier to deal with silicone. It lasts a long time. It's also why I'm doing this jacket mold underneath out of silicone. Simply because I want to have this this peace of mind for a while, or at the very least be able to reproduce a fair number of it. So now you can actually see the difference from the initial base coat to what I'm working at with now. Now you can't see around the front, and I'm not going to spin this thing for you simply because it's a pain in the butt. But let me just rinse off my hand real quick, and I'm going to show you what I meant about the being able to use the plaster cast straight up. Now it's handy to have a bucket nearby, 5-gallon bucket, a few inches in the bottom of water, so you can give your hands a quick rinse off. Now, I had previously done the lower leg sections of the Guyver outfit out of plaster. Now the detail work is pretty good on this. There's a couple air bubbles, but it was like my my second or third try doing a large scale. Just move it here. Doing a large scale casting out of plaster. This is before I found out about silicone rubber. So let me get that strap out of the way. Alright, apologize for that. Now this is about 1 inch thick, 1.25 inches, and this can be done with plaster. The only thing is don't do the inside pour out of resin, because it gets really stiff. Or if you're going to do it out of like a pourable material, you can use a soft urethane rubber. Smooth On makes one. I think it's called C1515. Cures black. It's a little bit more expensive than the resin, but it's because it's flexible. But it does take, I think, 16 hours before you can demold. So you're getting one thing, but you're sacrificing another. So, but if you're doing this at home and you're just doing like a Halloween costume or something for a play or something like that, you can use hot glue, melt a bunch of sticks into a pot that you're not overly attached to, on like a hot plate in a garage, and you go right ahead and pour it in. Make sure that you soak your plaster cast for about an hour or two, just to allow some of the water to absorb into the plaster, which will allow you to be able to demold it a lot easier. Now, because of the plaster, you will get a bit of a whitish film on the hot glue when it comes out. So it's good that it's you can probably get colored hot glue, which is generally more expensive. But if you're going to be doing some intricate paint work, so you better just stick with the regular hot glue. You can get it on like eBay. You can get like 450 sticks of hot glue for like $30 plus shipping, and 450 sticks will easily do a full piece like this. But there's a lot of painting. You're gonna have seams because this is a 2-part cast, and you can. And by the way, once you when you're done this, when you come to the point where you peel it off, it will rip the clay to bits. So if you want to keep your clay sculpture a little longer, go with the lidded silicone jacket mold, because it doesn't damage the clay to near degree of what the plaster does. But if it's a budget that you're on, this is easy to go with. 100 pounds of plaster. The stuff I use is about $35 for 100 pounds. You can do most of a full body form on that with the hot glue, so it's not that much. It's just all the work, all the sculpting, all the prep work, all the painting that takes the longest. So there you have it. You can either use that method, or you can use the straight plaster cast. It's all up to you.